This is an overview of the Rockler dovetail jig along with a couple of the peripherals and some techniques. The first thing to be said is that you're going to need to have a guide bushing put in your router, and you're going to need a 14-degree half-inch diameter router bit. The height to set the router bit depends on the thickness of the material. We'll go over this in a moment based on half-inch Baltic birch. Your machine, obviously you've got your top and your bottom dog down, you've got a stop plate, and you've got your fingers. I happen to have this set up for half-inch thickness or width between the fingers. One of the things to be said about the different templates that you can get is that it accommodates different widths of the material for even inch increments. So this happens to be 4 inches. I use a half-inch template so that I end up with a nice even reveal of the pins and the tails on the left and the right. If you're going to be using material that is not in even inch increments this way, then you've got the ability to reach for two different, or I think actually there are 3 different templates for it. Now, as far as setting up the jig itself, you've got a back plate here. This is going to stop the progress of the router. You've got fingers in the jig that give you the ability to travel pretty far back for the tails. No, actually it's the pin. Well, I keep forgetting which is pins and which is tails. We won't worry about that at the moment. But the stop plate is what blocks the router from cutting too deep. So that's going to be set differently based on some test cuts that you make. For the material, you've got all your tops and backs, or your fronts and backs, go in the top. All of your sides go in the side. And what that means is, as I grab a couple of drawers that have already been made, you're going to be milling this shape in the top, and you're going to be milling this shape on the sides. And it's all going to be done all at one time. When you go to set the machine up, you're going to put in the top material and dog it down, and you want to have almost no gap, actually as close to no gap as you can get in the elevation between the two pieces. Now, one of the more critical pieces of adjustment, at least on this machine, I think they have fixed this on subsequent revs, is you have a little fence piece of plastic here that actually you have to take this whole front piece off in order to dog this down, and there's an additional fence right back in here. If these aren't set exactly right and exactly parallel, you're going to have some difficulties milling. So all the action on this machine really is relative to these two pieces. Once you get that going, you can start routing. Now let me talk a little bit about milling the half-inch Baltic birch ply. I have left myself some notes on just a piece of masking tape back here so that I can repeatedly set it up even after having not used the machine for a while. For milling pins and tails in half-inch Baltic birch material, what I do is set my router with my combination square. I set the height of the bit so that it is 19/32 of an inch tall from the outer base. If you've got different thickness material, obviously that's going to change around, but if you're using Baltic birch, that probably gives you a pretty good starting point. And according to my notes, at least for a Porter Cable 690 router anyway, this bar is 15/16 of an inch from this template. And again, that's just based on the size of the base. Your mileage definitely may vary if you're not using a Porter Cable 690 router. And when you're done routing, what you're going to end up with are some pins and tails that should go together pretty politely. Now, I milled the, these are test pieces. I milled for the drawer bottoms after I milled for the pins and the tails. That's what gives you the ability to put the groove in a location where it's going to be hidden when the drawer is put together. hopefully this gives you at least some idea of how to start getting from here to there. For 3/4 inch stock, you're obviously going to need to make significant changes from this. Let us know if you need any other info. Hopefully this helps there.